Hello everybody, this is a September 2019 Naturia Traptrix deck profile. So 2 subscribers, sorry for the re-upload, there was a slight problem with the first video. So anyway, this deck is pretty cool because it's an earth deck, so you can use Goes and Match, all the monsters are earth, you can go into your Synchros easily, Bamboo Shoot is always a decent play, and there is a trap that crosses over the 2 archetypes pretty cool, in a pretty cool way. So let's begin with this deck profile. So we start off with double Bamboo Shoot. This card is sometimes a game winner. If you can manage to pull off this tribute summon by tributing a Naturia monster, you can lock your opponent out of all of their spells and traps. So I've actually beaten Sky Striker using this card, so very satisfying victory there. So triple cherries, this is your go-to level 1 tuner. Usually you're just normal setting this card and then waiting for it to be run over by battle or destroyed by a card effect, and then you can special the other 2 from the deck, so you have some kind of material for the next turn. Just going for maybe a cliff normal summon and going for a beast play. So triple Antjaw, this card I overlooked in my last Naturia Traptrix deck profile, but it's actually quite good. If you're normal summoning this card in any of your turn, it's not the worst play, because you can actually special summon from the deck every time they special summon, so you can actually fill up your board and spam your board with Naturia monsters and fill up your main monster zones, and hopefully some of them will survive for the next turn. So double Cliff, this card is thematically essential. It's a very classic card, but it does miss timing, as I said in my last video, under a lot of circumstances. It does get its effect as special from the deck if it's run over by battle, but it's your go-to level 4 earth monster here. So double Cosmo Beat, this is a card you can use on your opponent's first turn. If they're going first, you can special summon this card from your hand when they normal summon or set a monster, and then because it's the first turn of the duel, it won't be destroyed by battle, so hopefully it'll be on the field to be used as material when it comes around to your turn. So 1 level 3 tuner, the Butterfly. This is a pretty good one to special summon with Antjaw from the deck, because you can mill a card to negate an attack. It actually does something on your opponent's turn. 1 Dragonfly, this is the last Naturia monster. This card can be quite a beat stick because there are a good amount of Naturia monsters in this deck to have in the graveyard, and this card won't be run over by anything with 2,000 or more attack, so good beat stick. So Traptrix monsters, double Mermelio. This card has an effect on normal and upon special. So upon normal, you search one of a variety of whole normal trap cards. Upon special, you pop a spell or trap. So there are good 2 ways to do that. To special summon this card, you got Dionea as well as Goblinberg. So good staple Traptrix monster to get your traps in hand. So double Mantis, this card is the primarily the way to search your Mermelio or the Dionea. It does have a kind of gimmicky second effect where you can bounce a set spell or trap you control and then maybe set the exact same back row to dodge something like an MST. But for the most part, it's just searching the other Traptrix monsters. And the last Traptrix is this Dionea, which has an effect upon normal and upon special like Mermelio. So upon normal, it'll resurrect your Traptrix monster from the graveyard. Upon special, it'll reset your whole normal trap from the graveyard. So it needs an established graveyard to use this card. That's why I run it at 1. So for non-Naturia, non-Traptrix, we have double Goblinberg. This is your 1-turn Nat Beast or Barkion or Landoids if you have Butterfly in hand. So just 1 turn can make you an extra deck play, a decent extra deck play. And then finally, for the monsters, 1 Glow Up Bulb, which is your backup level 1 tuner in addition to Cherry. Send this to the graveyard with Foolish Burial. So spells, triple Twin Twisters. This card is important because persistent back row, face-up back row is still a problem, even though you have a lot of negation, spell or trap through the Synchros. And it's also a spell which you can discard with Landoids, which is why I included it over Heavy Storm Duster. So 2 Pot of Desires. This card is important for the draw power. For the most part, like I said in my last video, you are using the cards in your hand. Antjaw specials from the deck, Mermelio searches, Mantis searches, but the resources at your disposal is mostly going to be the cards in your hand, so the advantage is important. 1 Miracle Synchro Fusion. The fusion plays are very, very hard to pull off, but if you can pull them off, it's satisfying. You can draw 1 card if this card is set, so it's actually an additional effect there that is making it a little bit better than just polymerization, but just very hard fusion plays to pull off, but I did include it. So 1 Foolish Burial to send the the glow up bulb to the graveyard, and the last spell is a scapegoat, which is good for a variety of reasons. It's earth, so good for the goes and match build, good for synchro plays, and also good for your double Mrs. Radiant for that 1,000-point boost. So traps, double floodgate trap hole. This card is a good way to stop kind of the middle of your opponent's play. Maybe if they normal summon a monster or their first special before they go into link monsters, you can turn that monster face down and leave one of their zones dead. And just that lack of availability of that zone can sometimes shut down their whole turn. 2, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. This card only works upon special and only in response to one monster being special summoned, but it's usually the go-to one here because a lot of times special summon monsters are going to be activating effects the same turn that they're special summoned. 2, Time Space Trap Hole. So this one is very good against pendulums because it does work upon summon of multiple monsters, shuffling them back into the deck. And you are going to be losing a lot of life points as cost, but still good card in the Traptrix arsenal. Double Naturia Sacred Tree. This card is Traptrix as well as Naturia support, so tribute an Earth Insect to special an Earth Plant from the deck, or tribute an Earth Plant to special summon an Earth Insect from the deck. So you can trade in your level 1 cherries for your level 3 tuner Butterfly. You can trade in your Mermalio for your Dionea, get the special effect off of Dionea. So a lot of good examples of situations you can use, and crosses over the 2 archetypes. And then finally 2 goes and match because the whole deck is Earth, and your opponent will have to think carefully about what monster they choose to have on the field, but you will not have to think carefully about that decision because the whole deck is Earth. So extra deck, double Traptrix Sarah. This card is basically a way to bombard your field with Traptrix monsters as well as trap hole traps. So if you have some kind of trap or monster to really start the basis of the play, you can special from the deck or set from the deck. Just a very strong support for Traptrix right here, and the link one, so very easy to make. So double Mrs. Radiant for the scapegoat, as well as just the generic Earth support. Just gives your monsters a boost and also recurs from the graveyard, the whole deck. And then finally for the links 1, Saryuja Skuldread, which is Earth, so I thought it would fit in. Some combo heavy decks are going to be special summoning multiple extra deck monsters underneath the Skuldread. This deck will not do that. If you're going into Skuldread, you can sometimes get the draw 4 effect, but you will not be special summoning underneath it the same turn because you usually don't have enough resources. So Synchro is 2 Nat Beast. This is your not once per turn spell negate that can shut down specific decks. Pretty good way to end the turn if you can just put this in the extra zone. Not too bad of a play. So 2 Barkions. This one is the level 6 that stops traps. A little bit harder to make being a level 6. Not quite as good too because it doesn't stop spell speed 3 traps. But still, I mean, if your opponent is playing a trap heavy deck, something like Paleozoic, this can be a good call. 1 Landois. Not nearly as strong as Barkion or Beast, but still a decent option to go into. Tons of spells in this deck, or a good amount of spells to discard to negate monster effects. And then finally a Leo Drake, which is just the level 9 beater, but it's also a Naturia card, so a Naturia Synchro, so you can make your Gaia's Trio if you possibly want to use Leo Drake or Landois in addition to just Barkion or Beast. So now we have the fusions, 1 Gaia's Trio as well as 1 Exterio. So they are very hard to make, these 2 cards. Almost never going into these, but if you do, like I said, very satisfying. This one requires 2 Earth Synchros. This one requires specifically Beast and Barkion. This one is a beater, but also negates effects that target exactly 1 card on the field. You discard 1 card. This one is a combination of Beast and Barkion, stopping spells and traps at a cost that is a combination also of Beast and Barkion. Very, very hard to go into, as I've been saying, but this one is a Waking the Dragon target mostly to be for its use, but in this deck, it's the boss monster. Again, thematically lacking if I don't include them. And then the last 2 monsters are double Rafflesia. This is the rank 4 that is perfect for the Traptrix lineup. I mean, you're activating trap hole cards from the deck, so a good way to stop your opponent from making critical summons and put it in the extra zone the first turn like that. Not too bad of a play, and it also protects all your Traptrix monsters from targeting, battle, and card effects. So a very important card to end up this video. So thanks for watching this one. This has been September 2019 Naturia Traptrix. Thank you. Have a good one.